Hey guys, Dave, your Jiu-Jitsu uncle here, and I'm back again with another nerdy AI related stuff. Now, in the previous video that I shared on how I use NotebookLM in terms of learning Levi Jones Leary's guard retention, I got a couple of good feedback, and as well as people that I met, not just online but also like physically, saying that the the video is very helpful for them to learn how to utilize AI to improve their grapplings, and they're wondering what my actual step by step was. And so here we are. I hope you guys would like this. Again, this is a bit of a nerdy video, and if you're anti AI, then just skip this video. But if you just want to play around and treat this as a tool to help you understand things better in a more contextual and learning type of mindset rather than an exercise mindset, this might be for you. So again, if you kind of like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe. Help me grow this channel. And here we go. So obviously, I'm saying that this title of this video is using Notebook LM for grappling. It's a nerd guide. So I broke it down to four different kind of phases in terms of how you are supposed to approach this. So this is, quite a bit of a tech learning video than a jiu-jitsu video. So one would be the extracting of the raw information, right? So the whole purpose of this is to get our sources and make the notebook LM to analyze any patterns and pull the transcripts out and those kind of source video material analysis. So remember that Notebook LM, unlike let's say Gemini or Perplexity or ChatGPT, it's not really there to summarize things for you. It's for you to feed a bunch of information that you have previously selected for it to extract and analyze, right? It's not a tool that will scour the internet for data for you to use. So you have to be supplying the data. You are the one who is supposed to safeguard against possible hallucinations that are pulled from everywhere else. Having said that, Notebook LM will still function as an LLM and will tend to be very agreeable with you. So that's what we have to be careful of, which brings us to step two, affordance and logic mapping. So what happens is after we ingest all the information, all the source materials that we have, we want to use the tool, Notebook LM, to identify how are we going to use these information that it was able to extract and analyze. So using some eco terms as like affordances and stuff. Basically what I'm trying to say is asking the system to figure out when to do something, why are we doing something, and how to do something, right? So what are the cues, when are the opportunities that allows us to execute certain moves, and what is the cause and effect of it? Which leads us to step three. It's going to be able to do that relatively quickly. That's what the power of most of these AI LLM can do. But as I mentioned earlier, they are very susceptible to hallucinations, to being too agreeable to you. And the more you talk to it, the more it's going to just keep on agreeing to you. So you need to audit and you need to make it function more like a critical thinker. So this is where the audit phase comes in. Again, this is not life or death. This is not monetary related stuff. So I don't want to dive too much into making sure that the system is as accurate as possible, but at least we want to eliminate certain things that don't make sense, right? So we're just going to forcing it to critique its own output. And then lastly, we're going to ask it to come up with an execution blueprint, meaning just everything that it has analyzed, checked, and critique himself, and to come up with an actual actionable item and list for us to do. So it allows us to for it to function like a coach for us, right? So I'm gonna do this live, so hopefully you can follow through. I'll put timestamps accordingly. If anything is confusing, just hit reverse so I don't have to repeat the whole thing and so we can keep the video short. So now we're going to jump to NotebookLM. So I assume that you have seen the previous video. You know how to basically use the interface. It's pretty straightforward. You click create notebook here on the top, and this little window thing will pop up. And I will show you right now how, so I have created a playlist. Hold on, let me hide this one. So I already created a very specific topic to discuss right now, which is outside passing. So when you're preparing this, you want to be as precise as possible. So you don't want to just like say passing and then you'll dump a whole bunch of stuff in. It will be a bit confusing for the LLM to understand, especially something as niche as jiu-jitsu. So right now I wanted to analyze just outside passing specifically, and just do a standard YouTube search, and you just create a new playlist for yourself, and you just add a bunch of videos, right? So right now I have 19 total videos, as you can see here, on outside passing. It comes from the typical channels that I enjoy watching, such as Rob Houghton, Flow Grappling, Duvius Dom, of course BJJ Fanatics, Jason Rau, Gordon, Tum Energy, etc., right? I'm surprised I actually don't have LIMI here, but anyway, so it's a mixture of both gi, obviously for the ones that we have here with Ffion, and then we got a bunch of Levi stuff, obviously, and Gordon stuff. So there are different types of content available. They all kind of generally talk about the same thing, which is outside passing, but a lot of different topics. We have fundamentals, we have specific athletes, preference, and all that stuff. So just save as much as you can. I would suggest that you just keep it to 15 to 25. And adding anything more might just end up being overlapping. I think 15 is a good number to shoot for. 10 should be sufficient. Anything less than that might be a bit too focused, which is okay if you're really just trying to, for example, just analyze outside passing of Gordon, for example. Then you probably don't have as much content. So that's fine as well. So anyway, so we created this playlist, right? So what we're going to do right now is to paste this into NotebookLM. So as you can see right now, my playlist is set to private. I mean, it's not going to be able to be read by NotebookLM because it will treat it as a public. So just in case you did this, you just make sure you change this into unlisted or public. Unlisted is fine, unlisted basically is as long as anybody has the link, they would be able to see it. So once you do that, you click share, and then you just copy this playlist link. So this will include all the videos in this playlist. Okay, so we're done with that, and we'll go back to our NotebookLM screen, which is here. So the reason why we did the playlist is to just skip like pasting one website at a time, which is a bit obviously tiring. So what we do is we just paste this as a playlist. So we just paste this video here, and all the 19 videos that we saw earlier will be ingested. So just click this little arrow. Oh, sorry. So you can see that here you can have options from the web, or you want to do fast research or deep research. Again, fast is usually more than sufficient. Deep would be very much be focused on like academia, finance, those kind of data heavy thing. This is just analyzing videos. Fast is more than sufficient. So click next, and you will see that here on the left side of the screen, it's going to start parsing all the videos inside, and you can see that it will immediately kind of summarize this So I'm not going to read this out, but you can see what it kind of assess based on what those videos are about, right? Which is pretty correct. So they have some suggested prompts that allows you to get started. You can do these like teach me outside passing setups, assuming I'm a beginner, etc. You can use that, but I created this bunch of prompts for you in this slide. I'll just put it in the comment section so you can try it. So just pretty much copy and paste this section, right? This how part of things, and then you paste it and paste it here. So what this is going to do is that it will only assess everything that is inside these sources. It's not going to look for stuff on the internet. So it will contain itself to those 19 sources. So right now I wanted to analyze the cues, physical movement, tactical patterns, etc., etc. So while it's doing that, it shouldn't take that long. But videos will generally take longer than text because it will still have to load the video, extract the transcript, and do all that stuff. So you can see that it will start generating these kind of physical movement, specific techniques, So it depends on how advanced you are with the topic. Some of these might be easily understandable, some of them might not. Anytime you're not sure about this is about to say, you can see that there's a little number here. It's like a footnote reference, so you can just hover over it and it will tell you from which source that is, from what time frame you should take a look at, etc., etc. So you can do it all of these things. So it did this one, right? The raw extraction one. Okay, that's fine. So let's go to number 2. We wanted to analyze and extract when to do something, what are the cues, and all that stuff, right? So again, just paste this. Don't worry about like reading every one of these. We're still setting things up at the moment. So I just paste this and run this again in the chat. We're doing everything in the chat right now to kind of build this entire learning notebook so that we can generate stuff later on the right side for us to use. So again, based on the videos, titles, and description, these are specific affordances, which is environmental cues and opponent position that creates the openings, blah, 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 blah. So the guard orientation, the leg positioning, those kind of things, we'll start analyzing these information. And then we go to the audit. Again, the audit, they will try to scrutinize itself internally and see if they have contradicted each other, just to weed out anything that is probably inaccurate. Again, this is sports, and I would say that, yeah, so as you can kind of see, there's no like hard rule as to what is correct and not, and because of how things are being interpreted, the main thing would be just like the whole argument in eco is the language being used. So jiu-jitsu or generally sports people are very poor in terms of communicating accurately, so you can see a lot of like adjectives and terminology contradictions in terms of just how certain moves are defined, right? So it doesn't really matter, so these things are relatively benign. It's not really something to worry about, which is good. That means the data that it's ingesting is generally accurate. This is just like a little cross check for you whether or not you should trust what it has analyzed. But since again we are getting information from the experts that we follow anyway, so we kind of assume that we have the presumption that most of the information will be somewhat high in accuracy. So lastly, we will ask it to kind of come up with an output. So we again copy that prompt and we paste this. Again, these prompts are just the stuff that I made, so feel free to change it and reword it in a way that you see fit. So right now it's using everything that it has analyzed and assessed so far to come up with like an analysis and execution checklist, right? So we got some non-negotiable execution checklist, which is like you must force the direction, you must establish strategic distance because obviously for outside camping and outside passing, you're not trying to go chest to chest or hip to hip early, loose mechanics, etc. And like these are pretty cool, to kind of narrow down what transitions that you can work on, like Toreando, leg drag, and duck unders are some of the good moves that you can focus on, and that would be great, right? And then you consolidate, etc., etc. So now, good, everything is assessed, everything is analyzed, and you have some sort of a what to avoid, for example, and you have some sort of a game plan to get started. Is this sufficient for you? If you're a text learner, this might be good. If you're not, you're like me, you like audio and you like video stuff, then we can go further. So we can take a look at here on the right side where it says studio. I like to use audio a lot, but simply because, again, like what I explained in the previous video, I bike to the gym quite often. I take public transport. So listening to stuff really is beneficial for me because I can go over and over. But one of the most effective things for me to kind of look at things from a broad view is the mind map feature. So when you click the mind map feature, it's going to create a mind map and kind of like a if then else type of guide for you to follow based on the analysis that it did. So you can see that it generates it relatively quickly, and you can kind of see this. BJJ outside passing, we got the techniques, concept, methodology, submissions and finishes, and how to train. So every single time you click it, it will kind of tell you like, okay, if you're going to do loose outside passing, what are the stuff that you can kind of focus on working on. So you might want to work on Toreando pass for week 1, leg drags for week 2, etc., etc. It's really up to you. And then you can kind of move on to the concepts, right? Of loose passing. And again, this is just like the outline of things. If you kind of click it, it will lead you directly. It will automatically analyze that specific thing you can see on the left, right? And it will explain everything to you on what loose passing generally is, what the framework is, etc. Okay, and let's go back to this one, right? Modern guard passing, no-gi application, etc. Right. So again, this pretty straightforward based on those video itself. These are usually like they decided that in the videos that you shared, maybe it's because of the length, maybe it's because of how in depth it is. It will kind of summarize things specifically on the videos sets that you provided. So, for example, Ffion seminar was also about outside passing, but we didn't really study that specifically. So this kind of summarizes the video. So again, if it's something that specific that you want to analyze in that video, you can just kind of look into that. All right. So the mind map is something very useful just for you to kind of keeping yourself focused in terms of your training and have some sort of like a roadmap as to where to go, right? So in this case, I think, a lot of the videos didn't really look at finishes and submissions. So we only have north, south, choke, save. And that's fine. Maybe in the future you want to, let's say your outside passing always tends to end up, let's say you end up preferring doing leg drags, for example, and off the leg drags, and you want to do bolos and stuff, and you can just add, new sources that is specific to leg drag to bolo. You can do that down the road, but it's still connected to the whole BJJ, to the whole outside passing concept. And then when you look at the training and development, you can look at the drills and analysis and anything advanced that you can use. So again, if you click on the passing drills, what drills do you want to use? If you're a drill person, if you're not, maybe put some eco videos there that is related to loose passing or outside passing, then that will come up with that as well, right? So that's that, right, from a mind map process. So what else you can do? So again, from the studio, data table is not really relevant for us. So you can kind of create a uh, infographic as well. I think this is also supremely helpful. Um, so this is just a size and dimensions and stuff. It really doesn't have to be. And this is just how it looks. So I don't really care at this point. Let's just choose something cool. Let's say bento grid. So we're just going to click that. Things that involve graphics, audio, and video will tend to take a little longer to make than like a mind map or text. So let's just wait for that to generate. And also you can do a video overview. A video overview is kind of like a slideshow. It's just with an audio description. So if you like watching kind of like a YouTube thing, then you do that. Again, like what I mentioned, I love using audio overview, so let me do that for a while. This will take quite a while to generate, so I'll probably have to pause and come back to it. So here you can have an option between deep dive, brief, critique, or debate. Again, this is, you're trying to learn something, you're not trying to be critical of your sources, so we're not going to pick critique. Debate, I guess if you have a video about ego versus IP, gi versus no gi, those kind of things, pull guard versus takedowns, maybe use the debate, but in this case, let's just choose deep dive. I would always choose long because I always feel like you can always cut things shorter but not make things longer. So you can see some options here, presets for you to add to what you want the two podcasters to focus on. So again, it already did the analysis and everything. But let's say after watching all of those sources and notes, you want something more specific, right? Let's say you can add the practitioner or athlete. You don't have to use I because sometimes it, again, once you use like a first person, it tends to agree with you a lot and not be as critical. So you can just say that the student is an intermediate athlete with limited speed and ability advantage. For example, focus on the following. So as you do that, you can choose whatever it is you want, right? So you wanted to, let's say, getting pages, grips, footwork, and angle placement, securing the item control. You can kind of limit it like this, and you start generating it. Again, this is long, so this typically would probably take like 4 to 5 minutes or so. So as you can see, it says come back in a few minutes. But anyway, we already did the infographic. The infographic kind of came up with itself. Again, with any AI stuff, expect some typos, but again, we're not selling this or posting this anywhere beyond our personal use anyway. So you can kind of see guard passing, core systems. So yeah. So as you can see, if we didn't give specific information as to what we want the infographic to make, it will start to come somewhat generic output, right? So this pretty much just segmented the type of video sources that we did in terms of like who the profiles of the athletes are, the general core systems and concepts, and then yeah, it's mostly about transitions. You know, this is not super helpful at the moment, but this at least I would say that would be a good kind of like a table of contents summary type of infographic. You can always create another one by by being more specific as to what you want to come up with. So for now, I'm going to pause this video. Actually, let me just click video overview as well, and then I'll pause it while it's generating, and I'll come back to you when we are done. So again, here you can choose styles, and it doesn't really matter. Let's choose one of these things, right? Beginner training plan. And and instructors respect. Step by step. So we do that. Okay, so let me pause this video for a while. Oh, by the way, if you want this playlist, I'll share it in the description as well. So feel free, have fun with it. And I'll get back to you when the video and the audio are complete. All right, we're back. And we can see that the audio is set up and the video is also set up. Let's do the video first. And again, obviously we're not going to play the whole thing, but just to show you what it can do, which is pretty cool. So I honestly am not sure if you can hear the audio. So let me make sure that the audio is working. Hold on.
All right, team, let's get right into it. Today, we are tackling one of the biggest, most frustrating walls every single person hits in jiu-jitsu, passing the guard. We're going to build a super simple, super effective game plan to get you out of that mess and into a position where you can actually win. Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I told you that the way around it. And that idea brings us to our main concept for today, the outside path. To get past their knees and hips by moving sideways. You're not trying to collapse their guard and barrel through the middle. It's kind of like flanking an army instead of charging straight into their line of defense. Way smarter, right? So let's really put these two ideas side by side. On one hand, you have inside passing. That's all about pressure, crushing, and smashing that fortress. It can be super effective, no doubt, but for a beginner, it's a minefield. It's so easy to get caught in triangles, arm bars, the whole shebang, safer from getting submitted. And that the goal isn't to look cool, it's to be effective. And trust me, this pass works at every single level, from your very first day all the way to black belt. So start.
So there you have. You can see it. It's only a 4-minute video. It's a very high level type of content. When you do the video summary,
I commit.
It's not really,
half-hearted.
Sorry, it's not really meant to be comprehensive. It's not supposed to create a new video for you to upload on YouTube. So yeah. If you want really a deep dive, it's the audio one that's really, really good, in my opinion. Don't forget that there is this interactive mode in terms of the audio overview where you can actually pause the hosts accordingly if you do have a question. So let's give that a shot.
Imagine sitting across from a 22-year-old phenom who can essentially fold themselves entirely in half.
Oh yeah, the worst feeling.
Right. You're looking at them, they're looking at you, and you just know for an absolute fact you cannot outrun them. I mean, they have endless cardio, they have these fast twitch muscle fibers you haven't seen since high school.
If ever.
Exactly. And if you try to do some kind of cartwheel pass over their guard, you're going to end up in an orthopedic surgeon's waiting room. So if you're listening to this deep dive right now and you know you're not winning a foot race against these modern, super flexible guard players, how exactly do you pass their guard?
It's the ultimate question.
It is, and today we are looking at this hidden digital roadmap that proves the answer to that problem isn't speed. The answer, surprisingly, is physics.
It is entirely about physics. I mean, the modern...
Oh, hey there, what's up?
Can you make sure that the context of this discussion is applicable to a 50-year-old? Can you make sure the discussion is applicable to a 50-year-old?
We love that question.
That is exactly the right question.
And we are speaking directly to you, the 50-year-old methodical practitioner.
Everything we are about to discuss is designed specifically for your experience level and your physical profile.
In fact, the entire blueprint we are deconstructing is the absolute antidote to the speed and youth you are encountering on the mat.
The beauty of this approach is that it completely removes the athletic disparity.
So yeah, so I'm not gonna run through the whole thing because it's 40 minutes long. But in case that you are going to generate something like this, then you know that it's something that you can save and just listen in your drive to the gym and all that. But really, the most advantageous features for me is really this chat analysis, because you can ask a lot of questions to dive deeper only to those specific sources that you provided, right? You don't have to like go off the rails and end up looking at outside passing at first, and then you start venturing into tripod passing and knee cuts and all that stuff, or deviate yourself into doing back takes, and it just keeps you more focused. So again, I hope you like this learning system. I mean, the tool is available for us. It's free, so why not use it? So if you have anything specific that you are working on right now, it also keeps you in line, and it avoids you from having all this shiny object syndrome that causes a lot of people to lose track on what they are supposed to be focused on. So I hope you like this, and until next time, Dave, your Jiu-Jitsu uncle out. I'll see you again soon.